Now let's see what cool things we can do with this free alpha texture pack both inside Blender and ZBrush. I will start in Blender just so you can see that it works, and then I'll move over to ZBrush because ZBrush allows me to use more polygons for my experiments. You can of course use it in 3d-Coat or any other software that supports alpha textures. And let's move to sculpting mode. Here I have set 3 brushes, and the way you do this is just copy the existing default brush, go to the texture and choose the texture. You can do it by pressing here, and here you select the texture you want to use. Then you can just duplicate brush and repeat the process. This preview image is generated by pressing this little icon and then choosing your preview image. So I have made just a few slight adjustments to the brush, so it's using the stroke is the drag dot option. You can see the other options here. Fall off is default, and the mapping is set to view plane. So you can see if I drag this brush, I will get this kind of effect, and if I select this brush, I will get this kind of effect. These two are actually made from the same source, from the same real world rock, and of course I can increase the strength here and you see how it affects. We can also test this other brush. Here it is. Let's make it a bit stronger and a bit smaller. Here we go. So I just wanted to show you that it does work in Blender the same way it works in ZBrush. And if we go to the layout viewport, I will enable these two objects. So what I did here is I applied this alpha as a displacement texture. You see here. So we have added the subdivision modifier and displacement modifier. And you can see if we go to the texture tab, you can see the texture we used for this displacement. Same as we did here. This really means that you can use these alpha textures in unlimited scenarios. Okay, here we are in ZBrush. I have this layer brush. The stroke type is a drag rectangle, and the alpha is one of the alphas from the free pack. If I just drag it like this, I can get this kind of effect. So it almost looks like a terrain. And of course, now you can change the brush maybe to the standard brush with another texture. Let's use something like this. And lower down the intensity and start adding details. What's also cool about this type of brushes is that you can adjust them right inside your software. So for example, in ZBrush, I can use this alpha that I have set here. Let me just open this. I can create a 3D object from it. I go down here to the Make 3D tab and I press Make 3D. And ZBrush will generate an object, a mesh, from this alpha that I had selected last. This is very, very powerful because this way you can generate new objects for your terrain design or whatever. And that's not all. For example, this radial fade, you see what it does? So you can set it to maybe 10 or maybe 15, 14. Then you can play with the intensity like so and increase the contrast maybe. And now if you press Make 3D, you will get a totally different type of object. So if we go back to this object and we have this last alpha selected for the standard brush, if we apply it now, let's make it a bit stronger. If we apply it now, you see it looks much more useful in this type of scenario compared to what it was before. You see? Okay, now let's see what other brushes we have. So I will close this down. I like these tiling brushes. They can be used when you're making stone walls or similar items. So let's just lower down the intensity to maybe 50 and just do this. Same as before, you can also make some adjustments. So for example, we can change the intensity, increase the contrast, and now play with this radial fade as well. And now if I make a 3D object from it, you get this. Too strong, no problem. If it's too strong, no problem. You just go here and change the depth to maybe 20. Okay, and now make 3D. And you see it's totally different effect now. Of course, you can lower it down even more. With this modified alpha, if I go back to one of the terrains we have worked before, let's see, this is what we get. We can lower down the intensity and do this. Now you can already imagine if this flat area would be some sort of a water or grass, you can imagine the effect you would get this way. Okay, now let's make another experiment. Let us choose one of these smooth alphas, for example, this one. So let me just check what it does if I use it. Okay, interesting. Now I'll make a 3D object from it and set the depth to something high, for example, 75, and I'll make a 3D. You see, there are almost 2.5 million polygons here. And now I can go back to this standard brush and use one of the alphas to add details on the side. Let's see, what can we play with? Okay, let's play with this alpha. I'll decrease the intensity and apply the effect on the side, like so. Let's make it a bit stronger. Of course, you have some stretching here from the creation of this object. Now, what you can do, you can also go to the Dynamesh, set the resolution to maybe 2K, click on the object and press Dynamesh, and we'll see what happens. Okay, the object has been Dynamesh. Let's check the density of the mesh. You see, we have nice polygons distributed in this area. Now we can even smooth it. And now if we apply that same alpha, we'll get a much cleaner result. I can rotate this by pressing Shift and dragging, so I get it oriented like this. Then I can press Ctrl to change my masking alpha, something like this gradient. It's very useful. So, and let's repeat this step one more time. Okay, and now if I start dragging, I will get this nice effect on the side of our terrain. Of course, you can do it any way you like. This is just to show you what are the options and to maybe open your eyes a bit, because many people don't know that you can do all these things with alpha textures. Have fun playing with it. And if you have any questions, please get in touch. Join our Discord group. The link will be below. And see you soon.